Welcome to DBL. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hello. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Glad we have a doctor here.
How's this Halloween? It's just orange.
She looks like a fun little pumpkin squash.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's not make fun of Sam's outfit.
Right.
I like it.
Thank you very much, Albert. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Are you?
Okay, let's get started. Poor Dr. Coley. We are beginning with our favorite Dr. Coley. We love her, and we're going to kick things off with a question that a lot of people have been asking while watching the Olympics. U.S. sprinter Noah Lyles won a bronze medal in the 200-meter run, and he competed in the race while he had COVID. Now, Lyles wasn't the only athlete to compete while positive. So, Dr. Coley, do we need to still isolate? Is it okay to be around people, or would you say the Olympics is an anomaly because it happens once every 4 years? What would you say?
So I have a medical hat and an ethical hat when it comes to this. So from a medical perspective, the CDC says that if you've been fever-free for 24 hours without using ibuprofen or Tylenol, and your symptoms are getting better, which by the way is incredibly subjective, you can be around other people. You don't need to isolate. And I think that that's largely a sort of a policy of convenience, because if all that COVID going around, if everybody had to isolate for 5 days or longer, you can imagine our workforce would be back where it was during the pandemic. But from an ethical perspective, I understand this is the Olympics, but he should be forthcoming about the fact that he has COVID, because it's not just the Olympics for him, it's the Olympics for everybody else as well. And if I was in the Olympics and somebody gave me COVID and I didn't know and it affected my performance, I would be furious. So I think from an ethical perspective, and I really hope we're doing this in our community as well, if we are positive, there's no shame to it. You tell your colleagues and your coworkers, I'm still testing positive, because you could still be infectious even if you're feeling better. What do you guys think? I mean, don't you agree with me?
I was just thinking, you know, football season is here, high school. You have to assume whenever you look at a team full of how many players, 53, 100 and something for college, a couple of those guys have to have COVID. Right? Like just by the numbers.
Right,
like these people are in college and high school, mixing around with families. So I think, you know, we're saying it's an endemic rather than a pandemic. So I think that this is kind of the normalization where somebody's not running into the Olympics with COVID, and we're like, oh, that's interesting.
Well, I think to Dr. Coley's point really quickly is you see how Noah Lyles handled it, where he was isolated and he only would do his race. Not to say that you could better answer that question, but still, he did make sure he was separate. When you look at Australia with their U.S. with their Olympic water polo team, they did not isolate one of their players, and then a handful of the players ended up getting COVID. Right. So, to her point, I think you handle it the best you can, but
with
the
respect.
Olympics is an anomaly for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Doc. So speaking of that, more than half the U.S. states are reportedly have very high levels of COVID. So should we get a vaccine now or wait till the updated booster comes out in the fall and get it with the other thing? The flu.
So patients have been asking me this every day, Jeff, because I think this is a top of mind for everyone. What should I do about the boosters? And so I'm saying it really depends on your underlying health condition and what your goals are with the vaccine. So if you want the best protection, which for most healthy people, this is what I would recommend. You wait for a month until the updated version comes out, because that really is going to have the strains that have most recently been circulating, these flirt variants that we have out there right now. But if you're super high risk, if you're about to have a big event like a wedding, for example, or if you have a high level of exposure because you work in a hospital or ICU, you may want to think about just getting a boost from last year's version right now. But the downside of that is if you get it now, you're not going to be able to get the new updated version for at least a few months. We've sort of closed the door on the updated option. And of course, if you've just had COVID, you don't even necessarily need to get a booster because you have natural immunity. So it kind of depends, but I do think people need to get ready next month to be lined up, and that includes kids and, everyone over 6 months.
Isn't it funny though, Doc, like from the last couple of years, if you said like, hey, I just had COVID, I don't need a booster, that was like maybe career ending to say that on television. So to have that rhetoric out there now that you do build up you get immunity to COVID. It's kind of ironic, isn't it?
It's a good point, Jeff, and I was even thinking about the idea of competing when you're positive. Had we said that 2 years ago, I mean, people would be up in arms. But what's changed between 2 years and now is the virus is a little gentler to us. And most of us have either seen the vaccine or seen the virus, so we do have some level of immunity, so we're not getting as sick from it. But having said that, don't get callous about those boosters, because it's really important. Don't say, oh, I got it 2 years ago or last year, and so I don't need to get it now. especially you, I want you to roll up your arms and get that booster and those other things like the flu and all the other ones.
Take care of my calluses.
And your arms. All right, switching gears. At the end of last month, Kathy Lee Gifford was hospitalized while falling down. Kathy Lee Gifford, shut up, while she was recovering from hip replacement surgery. Now she's going to give us a health update. Here's what she told Today's Show. Take a look at that.
And then I was healing, and I was in a little physical therapy and stuff like that. And I thought that I was better than more completely healed. Was running down the stairs here at my home in Tennessee because my friend was locked out of my back door. So I just went too fast and in stupid shoes, and I went tumbling. But I realized that I wasn't in any pain. And a cracked pelvis, it was cracked in the front and the back. I was in no pain at all. He comes in with my x-ray and he goes, "Look at this, Kathy." And he said, "You want to see your x-ray?" And I go, "That's my x-ray?" He goes, "Yeah, you're completely healed. You are cured."
Okay, so
Like looking in a mirror right there, huh?
is that me? Dr. Coley, there was a friend waiting outside. How dangerous are falls for older adults, and what should you do after a fall? My mom had several, and it was keep her down, don't move her too quick. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, if I'm thinking of Tori as an old lady here.
Okay, okay.
You can just say, Tori, we're short on time.
Who's the oldest on the panel? You
Old
are.
Man River. Then Jeff.
Right.
So old man, I'm talking to, we're making light of it, but it's a really serious thing. And I often tell my patients the fall is the beginning of the end for a lot of our geriatric population. So do not fall if you can help it. And that means good footwear, bars in your house, being careful how you walk, hearing tests, vision tests, all of those types of things. But God forbid you do happen to fall. You want to check if you think you can get up. And if you can, you want to roll onto your side, use some furniture to help you get up, and then call your doctor right away. If you think you can't get up, then they say try to make noise so you can get somebody's attention. So if your neck feels unstable or you feel like you've got a bone sticking out or something that doesn't allow you to move, then call for help. But falls are the #1 reason for sort of fatal and non-fatal injuries, and 20% of them end you up in the hospital. You get a urine infection, get dementia, get a complication, something or the other. So just try to take them really seriously.
Work on the balance.
And
I think of my Oma that her fall was the beginning to
Yes.
the end. Yeah. And I know a lot of people can relate to that.
But you know what we can do now, guys, and even our parents? Every day, get out of your chair and do 25 reps of that, because it builds proximal muscle strength, which means your thighs and your core.
So just stand up.
And it helps keep your balance and your posture and tone better.
Great advice, as always, Dr. Coley. We appreciate you. DBL Nation, make sure to follow Dr. Coley on social media at Pio Coley MD. Also, be sure to subscribe to her YouTube page. Plus, check out her podcast, Heart of Medicine, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you again, Dr. Coley.